Got to watch some deputy sheriffs performing this weekend. They weren't exactly Medal of Honor winners, all right? The way they performed was, frankly, disgusting. They were listening to what was going on. The one in particular, he was early, then you had three others. You know, I really believe, you don't know until you test it, but I think I really believe I'd run in there even if I didn't have a weapon. And I think most of the people in this room would have done that too.
All right, that's President Trump earlier today. I agree with him 100%. How about you? Would you have, if you were in the situation where there was a gun situation, especially at a school, would you have jumped in? I know I sure as heck would have. Coming up in a couple of moments, we are going to talk with Alan Korwin. He is a gun laws expert, and we're going to talk with him about gun laws. I'm also going to show you this new black water that's supposed to be big. Check in if you would, please. Tell me who you are, where you're deplorable from. I want to know you. I want to see you. I want your comments. I want you involved right now. Check in right now as we get the show started. We're going to now start the podcast. So hold on one second. We got to go quiet. And now we start the podcast, and we'll be with you in 30 seconds. Go. Check in now.
We don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. That's a direct order. Do it now.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now he's unleashed. Unleashed. The American insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries, Rebellion Radio.
Well, hello, my brother from another mother. How are ya, my sister from another mister? How are ya? My name is Rusty Humphries. And this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. We are powered by right-wing news. You can see us on Liberty One TV. We are sponsored by an incredible company that I really hope you'll download. It's the app. It's called HearMeOut app. And this app is one where they are assuring me that you will be able to speak your mind and be heard without this horrible censorship that is taking place right before our eyes on these major social media companies. So please download the Hear Me Out app and follow me, Rusty Humphries. It is so important. It won't cost you anything. It's a great app. You can use it. It's like Twitter, but you talk. How many times have you tried to type 140 characters and then people misunderstand you, or you type an email and people misunderstand you because they can't hear your voice or the inflection? That's why the Hear Me Out app is so great. So please download the Hear Me Out app to your phone and look for me, Rusty Humphries. Just type in hashtag Rusty. You'll be able to find me. Look for my picture. You just kind of hit the plus and we'll be right there. Let's see here. We're going to check in. We're going to go to Alan Korwin in just a couple of minutes. Let's see here. John's there. Robert's there. Karen's a deplorable from Oregon. Hi. Julio is there. Julio says, I listened to our president earlier and agreed 100% with school security. Steven's watching. Nancy is in Wisconsin. She's a patriot. David is an Indiana deplorable. Lester says, Rusty rules. No, Lester, you rule. You rule. You. Don't point your finger, Rusty. That's bad. Oh, sorry. Look at this water. I was at Whole Foods today. I know I'm supposed to not be, giving money to the richest guy in the world, Jeff Bezos. But I'm trying to eat healthy. So I was at Whole Foods. And I thought this was a black bottle with water in it. And I opened it up like a minute ago, and it's black water. Premium alkaline water. Go deep beneath the surface. Discover the power of fulvic trace minerals. So I'm going to take a quick drink again just to let you know if it's any good or not. Hold on. Tastes like water. But at least it was more expensive. So I got that going for me, which is nice. John is from Altus, Oklahoma, joined the NRA 2 days ago. Robert is in Brownsville, Kentucky. Lori says, I'm almost 63 years old. If it were my kids in there, I would go in with my bare hands. This whole thing stinks with something really rotten. Thank you. Let's see here. Aaron is in South Jersey. David says something stinks. Jerry says Michigan is here. Odd Bajong says, how could this be allowed? Kathy is in West Virginia. Was the deputies told to stand down by Israel? What? Okay. Whenever you start going into Israel's the problem, then I'm out. Okay. Have you shared the video yet? You're probably going at this point, why should I share the video? Well, first of all, give me some thumbs up, give me some likes, and while that's going on, I'm going to dial Alan Korwin. Alan is a gun law expert, okay? This is a guy that knows about guns and laws. He's written, I believe, Alan, let me make sure as I check my notes, you've written 150 books, is that right?
You're a sweet guy. 15. Just finished my 15th.
15, that's pretty good, though.
Yep. For a guy who's only 11 years old.
What do you mean you're 11 years old?
Well, you said 150 books. I'm trying to follow in your footsteps.
I see. Okay, so, somebody just said, were the deputies told to stand down by Israel? The whole conspiracy theory and all this gun stuff, this drives me nuts. Or am I wrong and I should be looking more into conspiracies here, Alan?
I can't speak to that. I don't know, and you don't know either. I think you mean Mr. Israel. We got to be careful here since the word has more than one meaning.
Who's Mr. Israel? Oh, he was the sheriff.
He was the... I'm sorry, he was what?
He's the sheriff, right?
Right.
I forgot. I thought she was talking about the country. I was like, oh, boy, the Jews involved now. I was like, come on now. So it wasn't that. I forgot. The sheriff. Okay.
Right. I was in the middle of writing a piece when your call came through. The police have no duty to protect you, and most people don't know that. In all 50 states, the laws and the court cases, every single state and the Supreme Court have confirmed the police have no duty to protect you.
Wait. Hold on a time out, Alan. Time out, I say, because I've seen TV shows, and in all of them in Los Angeles, it says to serve and protect. So right. That says right there on the car.
Right. And that's one of the lines in the editorial I'm writing. It'll be posted up at gunlaws.com, my website soon. Serve and protect is an advertising slogan. It is not a policy. The law and the court cases say, and if you think about it, and I'll get into this, if you think about it, they have no duty to protect you. And if they fail to protect you, you can't sue them.
What?
If you think about it, I know it's horrible. Most people don't know it. The media certainly doesn't tell you. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
I've written books about it. The most recent case at the Supreme Court was Castle Rock v. Gonzalez. Maybe it's Gonzalez v. Castle Rock. This woman calls the police. She says, my husband is armed. He's threatened me and my 3 kids. You've got to come help us. She complains over and over and over. And the sergeant or the officer who takes the call goes to lunch instead of dispatching help. And the guy murders her 3 sons in front of them. And there's nothing she can do about it. It goes to the Supreme Court. And they say, look, it's not government's job to protect everybody. Have a nice day.
You got to be kidding me.
That's what everybody says when they find out. But think about it. If the government had a duty to protect everybody from crime and murder, it couldn't operate. And where in the Constitution do you have a guarantee that the government will protect you against crime?
Right.
The government guarantees your rights. It doesn't provide a guarantee. The police have a duty to protect society as a whole. And if they fall down on that job, then they're doing wrong. But they have no particular duty to be your personal bodyguard and the bodyguard to 300 million people. That is not what they do.
Although here's one I would change the law and the rule on this one. Tell me what you think. And that is sanctuary cities, because you as the government has chosen to allow illegal immigrants in, and so because of that, the city should be held responsible for those crimes that they're going to commit.
I would agree with you, but the way the system works and the way the law works ain't happening, my friend.
Yeah.
They're breaking the law to do that. And the whole DACA thing that's being argued now, you think about this. DACA is illegal. There was no legitimate authority. There was no legitimate authority to enact DACA. The 535 members of Congress refused to say, wait, Mr. President, or wait, Mr. Obama.
Right.
You don't have authority to do this. You can't do it. They all just let him usurp power, do something he couldn't do, and they're all complicit.
Right. And they all thought everything's A-okay. And I don't understand why the Supreme Court, now is the Supreme Court right, in your opinion, for saying, yeah, we're not going to hear it right now?
We are off the rails on how the country's supposed to run. So DACA is an illegal law, passed illegally, and look at the problems it's created. Mm-hmm. And now we're dealing with where the leaves on the tree are, and the tree shouldn't be there. Right. So how are you going to make the leaves right when the tree shouldn't be growing?
Right. All right. Alan Korwin is his name, gunlaws.com. Of course, every time we're going to have somebody like this, magically, the Facebook feed isn't quite as good as it should be. Maybe it's because I've got my little toy here.
Sweet.
This is a nice one.
Looks like a 44 Magnum, maybe Smith & Wesson.
357 Smith & Wesson. Is government, they want to take this away from me? They want this too?
Let's talk about that.
Is this an assault weapon?
Assault is a kind of behavior, not a kind of hardware. You make sure your listeners and viewers understand that. Okay. When they say assault weapon, you're being snowed, folks.
Okay, tell me why. What are we missing here?
Well, assault is how you behave. You assault somebody with your hand, with a stick, with a gun. Assault is something you do. It's not a piece of hardware. So let me ask you this, Rusty. This will be good.
Okay.
Let's say they ban the AR-15. Okay? Let's say they decide no AR-15. How do you do that?
Well, I don't know. Can't they just say, if we see you with it, we're going to take it and you're going to go to jail?
So that's 20 million Americans who have a gun that's supposed to prevent infringement.
Right.
So how exactly, let's say you have one in your closet.
I do.
Let's say somebody else has one in their closet. How does that actually work?
Well, I mean, again, if you've got an illegal car, I got an illegal tint in my window. The cops come over, they see that.
You're changing the subject like a good liberal.
Okay, what am I missing here? I'm trying to put Apple. What am I missing?
You're missing what everybody else in the country is missing. They keep talking about taking away the AR. When you look at the bill, it takes away 200 guns, and it describes guns so that it takes away lots of things that people own. You can't just confiscate property. That's illegal. So how does this work exactly? Nobody's asked the question. And you're a bright guy. That's why I'm asking you. You're not like some of these hosts that just rant. So think about this. On the air live, they outlaw the AR-15. There's 20 million of them in people's hands. Probably less than 20 million hands because a lot of people have more than one. So let's say there's 10 million people with 20 million ARs, and Congress writes a law and gets it signed somehow. Trump isn't going to sign such a law. Right. But let's say, I don't know, somebody gets in next, and Oprah signs a bill that says the AR is illegal.
Okay.
So now what?
Okay, so they'll try to say you got to bring in your guns. Now I'm not going to do it because people, those are what, 1,500. How much do those things cost? Somebody gave me one, so I don't know. They're like $2,000.
Let's say $1,000. You can get one for $500. You can get one for $2,000. Okay. So now you have massive civil disobedience of 10 million gun owners.
Right.
So where does that put America? Is it wise to ban that gun if it's going to let a million people will turn them in, which is exactly why the founders wrote the law, and you're not supposed to do that. Turn them in.
Shall not be infringed, right?
And you're supposed to stand there with your gun and say, take them or something. The government's supposed to be afraid that if they attempt to take them, like the British, something might happen. And to have the audacity to say, okay, you can't have this anymore. Property you own becomes illegal. In fact, in Arizona, we drafted a bill, haven't been able to move it, but it's not dead. We defined infringement, which is taking any gun that you legally own and declaring it illegal is infringement by definition.
Okay, let me ask you this. Could they pass a law that said, okay, well, we're going to grandfather everybody in, no new ones, and you can't buy, sell, or trade the old ones?
They could do that. Now you have 20 million gun owners who are kind of ticked off, and 20 million guns is an awful lot of guns, lasts a long time.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, who's in Congress becomes the issue.
Mm-hmm.
They could try that with the AR, another 200 guns. That'd be a pretty clever way to go.
Mm-hmm.
They have tried naming them, describing them. You can have what you have. So, but what will that accomplish? If we can have 20 million ARs out there, and in 90 days they'll be banned, so that means they'll manufacture another 20 million.
Right.
What will that accomplish? We'll have 20 million or 30 million ARs in the public hands, and now you can't have another one. It's like, who are they stopping? What are they accomplishing?
And the AR is, I mean, it's an okay gun, right? I mean, it's not like the best gun out there, or is it?
I would argue otherwise.
Okay.
I keep getting asked, why does anybody need an AR? It's not about need. Why does anybody want an AR? It's the best rifle made. It's the one the police want. It works well. It's reliable. It's easy to maintain. You can customize it. It's an American gun. Do you want an AK-47? That's a commie gun.
Right.
It's a perfect gun. Of course people want it.
Okay.
That's why there's so many.
All right, so President Trump has come up with a couple ideas. How about moving the age from 18 to 21? Do you have a problem with that?
Well, what's that going to accomplish? Change the age by 3 years? Does that include changing the voting age and the drinking age and the driving age too? Why are we changing the age?
Okay, well, I mean, drinking age is 21. I mean, the one thing I would say, and the one you hear is, well, these guys are in the military. Well, okay. You give them if you're in the military, you can have a gun at 18. If not, you got to wait to 21.
See, I hate to say it, Rusty, but you've fallen victim to the bombardment from the left. What are we trying to accomplish? Change an age or stop crazed, psychotic children from murdering strangers and their classmates?
Right. Moving the age to 21 would not have stopped Vegas, right?
Why are people murdering strangers? That's the question. We never used to. Colt came out with the AR in 1964. Nobody murdered anybody. My high school had a rifle team. They're in my yearbook. Mm-hmm. Nobody murdered anybody. I couldn't imagine going into a school or a mall or things like this and randomly murdering people. Where did people get that idea? Where did that idea come from?
Do you have a theory?
Well, you know the answer. Now, I saw that idea on TV.
What?
And in video games. That's where I saw it, and in movies.
You know, it's funny. I remember I was there at the beginning of the video game era. You're a little bit older. I'm guessing it wasn't that big of a deal to you when video games came out, or am I wrong?
Well, it was Pac-Man and Millie's Math House.
Well, there was a game, and I don't know why I remember this so clearly, but it was a driving game. And these zombies came up, and the idea was to hit them, and when you hit them, you killed them, and they turned in, and they had crosses where their corpses would have been.
Right.
That was the first killing game that I remember, and it was an outrage. They had it at the Seattle Center downtown, and people were picketing, and they were saying, if you'd have this game, they're going to have more, and they're going to shoot real people. And they were going, no, it'll never happen. They're never going to have real human things. All it is a cartoon. Right. And now look at whatever is on the video games.
Right. So we have descended into an immoral pit, a den of iniquity. It's horrendous. And why doesn't everybody go crazy? It's only affecting the weaker ones and the ones who are on psychotropic drugs. And it's affecting enough. It's affecting enough. Now, I'm a writer. I'm a total free speech guy. But if I was running a movie production house and somebody came to me with a movie about there are no rules, you can kill anybody you want, it's a free-for-all, and it's okay for 24 hours, I wouldn't provide $60 million to produce that.
Yeah.
I would look at the guy and go, you're sick, you need treatment, get out of my office, and I would produce something else. And it might be plenty violent, but it wouldn't be going over cliffs with a suicide cam.
Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, movies and video games don't affect you that way. I mean, let's be honest. Who didn't see Rocky and thought that they could box like right afterwards? Right? I mean, I was ready to go in the ring and take on Clubber Lang. I mean, I was ready to go.
Yeah. Monkey see, monkey do. And the weaker ones act out. We're seeing projection from people on the left. Everything they say the conservatives do is what the left does. It's simple psychological projection. We see it all the time. It's happening. Why is this happening? And yet you can watch it in video games, movie, TV. I turn on the TV at night and click the channels, and I go from one horrific, merciless, senseless, unethical murder after another with no compunction. There's no sense of heaven and hell, no morality, it's killing is fun. Let's do more of it.
And that's just watching the political thriller House of Cards. Hey, thanks for coming to Drink Minimum. I'm a killing. But you want to, I mean, okay, let's play another side of the coin. You're talking about if we got rid of 20 million guns, the outrage in America, right? How many video game systems are there? And how many kids are hooked to that? And what would happen if you said, yeah, we're getting rid of Grand Theft Auto?
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think we could descend further into an immoral pit? Could we, during family time hours, start showing videos and so-called newscasts? They don't show rape victims. They don't show dead bodies. They don't show all sorts of things that they self-censor. Rightfully so. Youth victims, youth perpetrators, they don't show any of this. They could start glorifying 10-year-olds who commit crime. Right. They don't do that now. They haven't shown gas stations blowing up. They haven't shown all kinds of horrible things that could be done. And so nobody has those ideas. They could. And maybe in 5 or 10 years, this society will look worse, and then people will be doing worse things, and the left will still be going, we don't know why it's happening, but we should control everybody and gather more power centrally like good socialists do.
Well, you know, I'm hearing more dirty words on Family Hour. I'm noticing that.
There's no limit now. I hear things on TV and on family radio as I'm driving. I went, wow, the FCC is allowing this, and yet free speech should allow that. Yet you hear stuff on the internet you simply don't hear on broadcast. Yeah. So the idea that Congress shall make no law respecting freedom of speech or of the press, just compare the internet to broadcast, it's night and day.
Right. Alan Korwin is his name. His website is gunlaws.com. If you want to check in, please do. If you've got a question for Alan, I'd be happy to read it to him. Let's see here. RZ says, if they change the age to purchase a firearm, they should be forced to raise the age of enlistment in our military. If you're old enough to fight and die for this country, you're damn sure old enough to buy a gun. Well, I would argue you're not necessarily trained. I mean, if you're going to raise the age of the military, I don't know. What do you think of that argument?
The age issue is a red herring. Mm-hmm. It's not about age. It's about people willing to commit murder with no sense of compunction, no personal sense of right or wrong. We just didn't do things like that. We knew better. Kids today don't know better. And the left is looking to restrict your rights in any way. Right. This is the ultimate question. Does it limit your freedom? If they're proposing something that limits your freedom, it's probably a bad idea. So you shouldn't have this gun. You shouldn't be able to buy it at this age. You shouldn't be able to go to this place. We should make a gun-free zone. All these things limit your freedom. What we want to do is stop maniacs from murdering children in schools. Oh, we'll limit your freedom. We'll limit your freedom. If it limits freedom, it's suspect. Mm-hmm. If it stops psychotic murderers, where are the interviews with the leaders of the drug companies? Where are the interviews with the people making the movies and the video games and programming, great word, programming television for 6 hours a night with murder after slaughter after terrible blood and guts? Yeah. Where are those interviews flooding television all day long instead of pictures glorifying the murderer?
All right, Alan, you've got a new book out that is not about guns, right? This one's about your dad?
Well, yeah, this my 15th book, I found out that autobiography involves somebody else a lot. He keeps saying, Alan, without your help, I never gotten this done. Let me see. Here you go.
Nice.
My dad's a World War II veteran. He had top secret clearance and worked on radar, which was something you weren't even allowed to say. He taught pilots and our brass what radar was because they didn't know, at a secure military base in Florida. And radar countermeasures, how to defeat radar that the other side was developing. And after 2 years of work, at 97 years old, he finished his autobiography. And yeah, it's really something.
That's awesome.
He still drives his red Cadillac, although we talked today about maybe finally selling it. And this is available up on gunlaws.com, my website. You know, I started out doing books on the gun laws and how to keep yourself safe. This was one of my favorites. I think you mentioned this. After you shoot, your gun's hot, the perp's not. Now what? People end up in more trouble than the criminal after a shooting sometimes because they say the wrong thing, they do the wrong thing. The police come and ask, do you need an attorney? You want the people trying to arrest you and get you in jail to give you the attorney?
Right.
I don't think so. You should have an attorney ahead of time, and you should think these things through. There are things you can do to protect yourself, and you should. If you own a gun, it's as important as ammo. And I've written 14 books, 10 of them on gun law for various states, the feds, the Supreme Court. That was a very interesting book. If you have a gun, you should know the rules, right?
Absolutely. Now, one of the things about this Florida shooter thing is you don't like the term shooter being used for the guy, right?
Well, that's propaganda the left is using. If you look at your stories, folks, watch CNN, watch MSNBC, even Fox, and read all the papers, they talk about shooting and shooter and shooting and shooter and mass shooter, and that's all they talk about. I'm a shooter. Rusty's a shooter. Shooting is a good thing. You should go out shooting with your friends. Murder is the problem. They're not talking about mass murder and murderers. Murder is bad no matter how you look at it. Shooting and shooter is fine. They're compromising that word. And all they do, single article 14 times, shooting, shooting, shooter, shooter. It's mass murderer, spree killing, spree murder. They don't do it, and they know it. They use words against you. And earlier we talked about assault weapon. It vilifies the guns. Assault is a kind of behavior. It's not a kind of hardware. And that's what they do to us.
And you need to share this video right now. You got to share this video, got to get it out there, because Alan is absolutely right, and it's what we've talked about quite a bit, and that is words have meanings, messages. They are trying to use, and we don't use this word very much, but it's true. They're trying to use propaganda. They're trying to persuade you so that you will think in certain ways that they want you to go in. And again, I hate the words, brainwashing and propaganda because it sounds kooky. It sounds kooky, but it's a fact that that's what they are trying to do, and that is the folks in the media and the left, and it's mostly based upon Democrats want power and they want control over you, and they want to use emotion and words to scare you because fear is the most powerful emotion. Alan, am I wrong?
You're so absolutely right, and we miss it because we call them the left, but they're socialists, and socialists use propaganda. They know all about it, and that's what's happening. I have a thing called a politically corrected glossary that takes the words they use and compares it to words you ought to use that make sense, and it becomes crystal clear, just like the difference between a shooter and a murderer.
Are we being too nice when we call them socialists? I think we better go back to the communists, call them commies again. Or am I wrong?
Well, there are communists out there. There are differences. There are commies. They're very dangerous. The Chinese, it's not China. It's communist China. That's different than the socialists we face here. There are hardcore communists. They hold a convention. It's on C-SPAN. But
and they're the ones that generally pay for the rallies, the DACA rallies, the gun march rallies. They always have the same kind of sign. They're usually yellow with black lettering, and they're kind of rectangular shaped. And and they always look the same. And then when you go to their organization, whatever organization it is, you look deeper, you'll see it's paid for by the Communist Party USA.
They have similarities. They have logo. They have corporate identity. They work hard. They're here. But the Socialists describes a lot of the members of Congress, a lot of the members of the Democrat Party, who I would not put in the communist bag. But let me give you an example of how this word thing works, aside from shooter and murderer and assault weapon and rifle. It's a rifle. It's an assault weapon. If you assault somebody, you're assaulting them with a firearm or with a weapon. Would you say you're pro-gun?
Yeah, I'm pro-gun. I hate guns.
That's a mistake.
Okay.
If you're pro-gun, the other side is anti-gun.
Okay.
They think guns are bad. So if you're a normal human being, you should be anti-gun. And by being pro-gun, you're practically the devil. So they've got you on that. They want you to say you're pro-gun. Consider this, Rusty.
Yeah.
You're really pro-rights.
But you don't even want to say pro-Second Amendment. You want to say I'm pro-rights. I'm pro the rights.
If you're pro-rights, what are they?
Anti-rights.
Yeah. Now you see how the words work and you're using it against them. Everybody asks me if I'm pro-gun. I always tell them, no, I'm pro-rights. What are you? They're anti-rights. And that's where this battle is waged. Oh. So you read the New York Times or whatever you read, and you'll see pro-gun all over the place, but you're really pro-rights. And they are anti-rights about everything that matters to us.
What a great point.
That politically corrected glossary I mentioned, it's posted at gunlaws.com. You download it for free, you learn these words, and you go, holy cow, I've been shooting myself in the foot all this time.
I will definitely download that. That's gunlaws.com. All right, Mary writes this. This is here. If those who sold the guns to these shooters and they didn't get
to these shooters, to these murderers.
Okay,
go ahead.
Okay, I'm just saying what she wrote. And they did not vet them properly, they should have a large fine and jail time. How did this last kid get such weaponry?
Now, should the store violate a person's rights by finding that they passed the background check, they meet all the requirements of law, and then go, I don't like the way you look, I'm not going to sell your kind? Is that what the store owner should do?
Now, I got a gun a couple of years ago. I remember I had to fill out a form. It went away for about 15, 20 minutes and then came back. Is that enough? Is that too much? I mean, is that infringing my rights if I'm being pro-rights?
Well, you can argue, if you're a libertarian, you can argue that doing the form and all that is specious. Because for the 100 million gun owners, there's about 10 million gun sales a year. Almost all of them go through. Of the ones that are blocked, most of those are false positives. The numbers of arrests, I think it was 2014 that John Lott, it wasn't John Lott, there was a study in 2014. There was 17 arrests for 12 million sales. So this paperwork system and expense and the FBI thing accomplished what exactly?
What would you do differently then? You're the expert.
That's easy.
Okay.
Not easy, but the bid system is what we should do. Instead of sending the names of 10 million innocent people to the FBI every year, the FBI should send the list of bad guys to the gun dealers like wanted posters. So there's these people who can't buy a gun. You send that list to the dealers, and the dealers look it up right there in their store and go, well, you're wanted for axe murder in 2 states. I can't sell you a gun. Keep the list accurate. And then the FBI doesn't collect the names of 10 million people a year who didn't do anything.
Okay, so you'd have a database, and you'd type in the name and probably have to have their picture there, right? So you know that it's not the wrong Alan Korwin, right?
There would be some that would need to be clarified, but there's only one Alan Korwin living at this address with this phone number, with this government ID, and the guy looks me up and I'm not wanted for anything. He sells me the gun. But there's a Rusty Humphries who's wanted for hate speech on the air, and you'd have a problem.
I thought I'd be wanted for being too sexy. Whatever. Mary says, okay, you're not right. 37 times that kid said he wanted to shoot people at school. Many people heard him. It's not the same, Mary says, Alan.
Well, she's right. After 37 times, the police should have said, you know what? We got to do something about you, and they didn't. So is that a problem with filling out the form? Or is that a problem with law enforcement? People don't understand. Laws don't stop behavior. law enforcement stops behavior. And we have a law for everything you can do wrong, but we don't have law enforcement for it.
Wait a second. There's law. Wait, is there a law that says you're not supposed to kill people? I forget. I think there is, right? They passed that, right? Did that go through the legislature?
You just went out of your I'm a very clever guy into I'm a very sarcastic guy mode. And I get it. But
I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of the left when they go, well, we're going to pass another law. Well, there already was a law. You're not supposed to kill people. That's even in the Bible.
I get this all the time. I wrote the unabridged guide to federal gun law, the unabridged guide to Arizona, Texas, California, Florida, Virginia. You can't name a crime that isn't already illegal more than once, usually. Federally, statewide, the states usually outlaw things 2 or 3 times. Name any one of these incidents and tell me which law we need that wasn't broken already and the guy can be put to death. How much worse can that get? All the laws they come out with are laws that will restrict your freedoms, not laws that will stop a crime. You need law enforcement to stop the crimes. And if the guy hasn't done anything wrong, hey, it's a dangerous world. It was Jeff Cooper who said, some people prey on other people. Yeah. And I say we can't get it fixed until we can eliminate the 4 horsemen of human havoc: angry, hungry, stupid, and wicked. Well, they're still with us, angry, hungry, stupid, and wicked. Yeah. We're stuck.
Alan Korwin. So I was talking to a friend of ours, Sheriff Richard Mack. Of course, you like him.
Oh,
right?
I know him real well. Saw him the other day.
Yeah, he's fighting to get a guy out of jail who went to prison because he sold raw milk.
Oh, yes, I know about that case.
I mean, it's like, how many more laws do we need? We got the laws. Okay, quickly, we're almost out of time. Do we give guns to teachers? I kind of like that idea. Am I right or wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say, do we give guns to teachers? That presumes we have power to do that. Who decided a teacher can't exercise their rights?
Now, see, here's what I would do. I would say, just like a coach gets extra money for being a coach and whatever, you say, okay, teachers, here's the deal. If you want to carry a gun, we'll give you a little extra cash. First, you got to go through the training. We got to know who you are. Then you got to have it concealed. And then you carry it around, and hopefully you never use it. But you get a couple extra $100 in your check every month. Yes?
It will probably go that way, and I understand that thinking. But if you look at it from a real base level, how is it that a teacher lost the right to keep and bear arms? Where did that come from? How come?
So you're saying that they have the right to keep and bear arms anyway, so they should be able to bring it to a school. Nobody should know. They should be able to do it if they want to, period.
I would ask a liberal or you or anybody, how come a teacher doesn't possess the right to keep and bear arms? To answer that for me, please. Mm-hmm. There is no legitimate answer to that. It's, well, they're dealing with children. Right. Yeah. What if you have children? You can't bear arms?
You know, I've been to a couple of elementary schools in Israel, and in front of every elementary school, right outside of almost every classroom, there's a guy with a gun sitting there every day.
And the children are safe?
Yeah, they kind of play with them. You know,
how does that work?
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those guys go crazy and shoot up the classroom.
One of the laws I want is to teach marksmanship, grades K through 12, and to teach the relationship between firearms and liberty and how that works in America. Right now, the school system has exorcised firearms training and education in the classroom. So the kids only know Grand Theft Auto and murder on TV and how to steal 60 cars in 60 seconds.
Right. All right, Alan Korwin. The name of the website is gunlaws.com. The latest book is about your dad. It's called, show me that again.
It's the autobiography of Irving Korwin, a World War II veteran with top secret clearance. He finished it this year. He's 97 years old. That's awesome. And if you want to know about the gun laws, or if you have a question for me about the gun laws, gunlaws.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. I send out news on what's happening on things like this. I very often have an inside track, and I'll be glad to communicate with you and tell you about what's going on. The Western Conservative Conference is coming up in Phoenix, March 22nd and 23rd.
Nice. And you'll be there for that?
I will be there. A bunch of people whose names you know will be there.
Yeah, well, it'll be a great show. I'm not going to be there. I wasn't invited.
Well, so
I'm not important enough.
One of the most important people won't, but a whole bunch of others. Corey Lewandowski, Herman Cain, a long list.
My friend Aaron Klein, my friend who we've been hanging out with terrorists, have had guns in our backs. That guy, he's going to be. Do you know Aaron Klein?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah,
sorry.
you'll like him. You'll like him. You'll love him. All right, Alan, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Let's get together and do that lunch thing sometime soon.
Sounds good.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, buddy.
All right, that's Alan Korwin again, gunlaws.com. Gunlaws.com. Great job, Alan. Thank you very much for being here. Good dude, and always has great stuff. Okay, I'm about out of time. Give some thumbs up for him and some hearts, would you please? And would you please let people know, not just share it, but say, hey, this was an important show with all of the garbage out there and the lies and the media and the left and the congressmen and all the people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Alan Korwin actually did, and you probably learned something. So would you please, 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 thumbs up, heart, share, comment. We got to get this out there because I promise you, the left and these big social media companies, they're not going to help get the message out. You can help get the message out. Would you please also download the HearMeOut app. HearMeOut app. It's available for your iPhone or your Android, the Google Store, Apple App Store, wherever you get your apps for your phone. You download it, doesn't cost anything. It's like Twitter, but you talk. And I don't know about you, but I have been misunderstood so many times typing 140 characters as opposed to talking and saying, hey, I think Nancy Pelosi's an idiot. And you can hear that. So please download the Hear Me Out app and follow me, Rusty Humphries. It's so important, I can't tell you, all right? I want to thank the nice folks at Right Wing News. I want to thank all the wonderful guys at Liberty One TV. And until tomorrow, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West, that's where I'm here Monday through Thursday, Friday. I like to take a quick weekend. May God bless you. May God bless America. I'm Rusty Humphries. And this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.